Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a Pan Those Eyeshadows update, and I am so excited to film today's update. I love this project so much. If you're not familiar, this is a project pan where the ultimate goal is to hit pan on as many eyeshadows as possible. I personally love to randomize my eyeshadow selections, but everybody tackles this project pan in a different way. Some creators follow prompts, which I absolutely love. Some actually just randomize a palette and then hand select the eyeshadow for themselves. Some do a combination. I have done that in the past where I do some hand selected shadows in tandem with randomized eyeshadows, but nowadays, I'm doing it again back to fully randomized. Last update, I just decided, you know what? I feel like just letting the randomizer pick my selections and going from there. So that's where we're at with this project right now. I love working on my eyeshadow palette collection. I love finding new color combinations, different palettes to play with in tandem with one another. It is such a treat to do this project, and I just can't get enough of it, and I'm so excited to share with you the update that I have for this past month. I have not swatched out my eyeshadows for today's update, but my color story this past month was really interesting because it basically comprised of two really compatible duos. So you will see in a lot of my looks that the warm tones I've worn together and the cooler tones I've worn together in a lot of looks as well. So you will notice there's some repetition of the shades, and although I don't have a ton of images to share for each individual shadow, you'll actually start to notice that a lot of the looks that I am sharing have multiple shadows in them. I will just note that now. So let's get on into today's update. So let's kick it off with this palette that has been in the project for now 3 full months. This is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette, and I've been focusing on a beautiful matte mustardy, orangey kind of shade called Lorelei. I had previously used it 11 times prior to today's update. I have now used it an additional 8 times, bringing me up to 19 uses in this project pan. And here is what Lorelei is looking like today. So there is quite a dip. You can really see the dip happening. It's that shade right there, but no pan quite yet. I anticipate this is an eyeshadow that will take probably about 30 uses to be able to hit pan on. So if I can use this like 10 times in this coming month, that'll bring me to 29 total uses. I may end up having pan in it by my next update, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to use it that much, quite honestly. I am starting to find myself getting a little bit, not burnt out with this shade, but it's something that the only way that I really enjoy using it is in the crease and on the lower lash line. Like today, that's where I have it. I have it in my crease, I have it on my lower lash line. I kind of have it as sort of a base underneath these other shadows as well. And so it's repetitive because that's really the only way that I enjoy using this. Sometimes I wear it all over the lid and into the crease, but it's like a one-trick pony for me kind of eyeshadow. So I'm finding myself just not as inspired and excited about this as some of my other shadows where I get to play with them in different ways, use them with other color combinations. Like this is something that, because it really serves one purpose for me, yes, I can pair it with other things on the lid, but I'm just not finding it to be that exciting nowadays. I love using this palette though, and I have been using this palette in tandem with that shadow, so I have been enjoying it for that reason. But Lorelei is gonna take me quite some time to actually be able to hit pan on. Let me give you a swatch of this shade. It is really beautiful, and it's a super flattering shade for me. I find that this is like the kind of neutral that I really do enjoy wearing personally, but I don't know. It's a little bit more slow going because of the nature of this. It is a matte that is very firmly pressed, so it's gonna take me quite some time to be able to hit pan on it. That's Lorelei. It will definitely remain in the project for another month, if not longer. I really do want to hit pan on it though. I can optionally roll items out after I have used them a minimum of 15 times. That way I know whether I want to hit pan on it or not, but given the age of this palette and given how much I love this palette, I do want to keep it in the project until I hit pan. So Lorelei will remain, and hopefully we'll have a pan for my next update. Typically, I like to talk about these shadows kind of from the oldest in the project to the newest in the project. However, I am going to switch it up today and talk about an item that I did just roll in my last update because it comes from my Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, which is the shade called Penny in here. And yes, I just rolled this in last update. I have used it, however, 6 times since rolling it into the project pan. Today I have it on the outer portion of my lid, and it's a beautiful shade that pairs so well with Lorelei. And that's why I want to talk about this shadow here at the beginning of the video, because you will notice actually in a lot of the photos that I am wearing Lorelei and this shade Penny together because they do pair so impeccably well. So here's what Penny is looking like after those 6 uses. There's a little bit of wear, you know, it's evident that I've been reaching for it. It's evident that it's something that has been used, but no major progress on it. It will take me a long time to hit pan on this. The shadows in this palette are very, very deep, so it will take me quite some time to be able to hit pan on it. I foresee it requiring many, many, many more uses to really get a dip going on this. And now that I do have a glitter glue in my life, in my last update when I had rolled this in, I didn't have a glitter glue and I kind of wondered how this would adhere to my lids. Now that I have a glitter glue, I really don't require very much product at all because it goes on so, so well. As you can see in the swatch, it does have a little bit of sheerness to it when applied with just the finger. But now that I have a glitter glue, it's like I barely need to apply any product to get the impact. This foiled, really, really high shine look that I do have today is in part because of the glitter glue. So it'll be a while. It'll be a while for me to be able to hit pan on this. I foresee this being in the project for several more months. That oftentimes is how it goes with my Metropolis palette. These shadows remain in here for quite some time, but I'm okay with that. This palette is looking loved. Every single day, it's looking more and more loved than the last day, and that's what I really, really hope for from not only this project, but especially for my luxury palettes like this one. Actually, this is my only luxury palette, let's get real. So hopping kind of backwards to a palette that has been in this project now for 2 full months. I rolled this in, not in my last update, but the update prior. This is the Zeesea Alice in Wonderland collaboration palette. And the shade that I'm working on in this is the first shade in the palette. These don't have shade names. It is a beautiful, vibrant blue shimmer shade. I had used it 5 times in the first month that I had it in this project. I've now used it 7 more times since rolling it into the project pan. And after those 12 uses, here is what that shadow is looking like today. It's gonna be very hard to show you because this is a very reflective palette, but there is a tiny, tiny little pan right in the top corner of the blue shadow. I've been focusing specifically on the blue portion of this pan, not on the white portion. And yeah, I was able to hit pan on it yesterday. After that 12th use, I was able to hit pan on it. And that's because this past week I did a focus week with this. So it was a 5-day challenge to integrate this shade into 5 looks this past week. I did that over on my Instagram. I oftentimes do that. I try to do it every month with one of my focus shadows. And this one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the variety of different looks that I created. I really was trying to use a volume of this, so like using it over the lid or using it on the lower lash line, really trying to get very blue-centric looks as the focus for this week in order to hit pan, and I was able to do that. This is a little bit of a creamy kind of texture, similar to a Colourpop Supershock shadow, so it does have some malleability, it does have some like kind of flexibility within it, so it kind of mashed its way around to be able to hit pan on it. I think I hit pan on my 2nd day in the focus week, and then I kind of like smashed it back together and then ended up hitting pan on it again by the end of the week. So I decided, you know what, that counts then. So here is a lovely little swatch of this shade. It is definitely fun. It's a vibrant blue, and as you can see, it's quite sheer, but if I use my glitter glue with it, I can make it very, very impactful. So I was able to use it in quite a variety of different ways over this past week when I was focusing on it, and I thought it was so, so fun. I was really focusing in that corner because I was trying to not like mix the blue into the white, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was like working in a very targeted area, and yeah, anyways, so happy to see a pan in there and actually see some use on this palette too. Like there's actually some like shadowy dust throughout here. You can tell that the eyeshadows are getting used. This looked basically untouched earlier this year, so this feels really good. And the 4th and final focus shade that I have in this project for the moment comes from my Colourpop Lost in Wonderland palette. This is a palette that I received in PR from Colourpop only earlier this year. I love Alice in Wonderland, just like the Zeesea palette. I just love Alice in Wonderland, so this was a treat to receive in PR. But in any case, I just rolled this in my last update. The shade that I'm working on is called That Way, and I've used it actually 9 times since rolling it into the project, which is my highest number of uses out of all of my focus shadows. And this is what the shade That Way is looking like today. It's this one right here. This is like a cool toned brown shade, medium brown. And you can see there is a dip, there's some use. It's a little bit dusty looking because I have been reaching for it so frequently. Today I have it in my brows, just very lightly, kind of in the arch and in the tail of my brow. And that's more often than not how I've actually been reaching for it. However, I have integrated it into some eye looks as well, but actually it's like a perfect brow shade for me. So I anticipate that's the way that I'm going to continue to use it. I actually really like this in my brows, and I feel like it's the best eyeshadow shade for my brows in my current collection. So yeah, really enjoying it for that. I am really happy that I did roll this into this project because this was a palette that I thought was so cute. I love the idea of, but I really didn't know how to use this palette. And so I found myself actually reaching for this palette throughout this month, not only for my brows, but to actually just finally get to know it. And I really enjoyed it so far. I used it several times in combination with the other Zeesea palette through my focus week and loved it. And yeah, I'm really excited to play with these pastels more and to get to know this formula more, but it feels good to finally reach into this because I had this for like a month or more, probably more than a month. This launched in May, right? So I had it for a while and I had used it a handful of times and just really didn't know where to start with it. So it feels good. I'm getting introduced to it and I'm starting to understand it and really enjoy this formula. So yes, 9 uses have already happened on this. I think I'm going to try my best to really hit pan on it. I don't think this is going to be a shadow that I keep in just for 15 uses because that'll happen pretty quickly in the coming month. So I think this is something I'm really going to try to hit pan on, even though it's a newer palette. I think that'd be fun. So yeah, I don't know how much longer it'll remain in the project. I have no idea how deep these pans are, but if it's anything like any other Colourpop matte shadow that I have used in the past, I feel like these will last for quite some time. So we will see. And I forgot, that is a swatch of That Way right there. On my back of my hand, I feel like it always kind of looks a little bit purpley, but in my brows, I promise you, it does not look purple. As you can see, it really just looks like a taupey brown. It's a perfect shade in my brows actually, and I don't have any other colored products through my brows. I just have a soap brow too, so you can see it really just is quite perfectly neutral on my brows, but for some reason in swatches and when I do wear it on my lids, it does translate a little bit more purpley, a little bit more gray, but overall it's been a really fun eyeshadow and palette to work with. So this is the palette that I've been working with here, and I will be rolling out that gorgeous blue shade, and I'm so excited to do so. So let's randomize something new in its place. So I just quickly removed the bottom 2 swatches and added the shade That Way back on into here. So this is what we're working with right now, and I'm going to randomize the 4th and final eyeshadow selection to add to this palette, this little quad here. It could go any number of ways. It truly could. These are all eyeshadows that I feel like I'm in it kind of for the long haul with. I will have them for a minimum of this next month, if not longer. So I'm hoping I get something that has a little bit of progress already on it. Something that is a good, easy, everyday kind of shadow, although these ones I would consider also to be everyday shadows. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping that there's something that already has good progress on it. So all of my eligible eyeshadows are in this Tiny Decisions wheel right here. I update this every single month to have the most current version of my collection, whether it's new eyeshadows. I omit eyeshadows that I hit pan on. Unfortunately, I didn't have any bonus pans this past month, but in any case, I think I'm rambling because I'm kind of nervous. So let's just check it out. What do we have? What are we adding to the project? Okay. This is a dark brown, and it is one that's going to be challenging for me, but it comes from my Nobla Soul Blooming palette. The shade is called Caravaggio. I will be right back with that. So here's my Soul Blooming palette. I've been reaching for it really often as of late, even since I rolled it out of the project pan most recently, but the shade Caravaggio is this one right here in the bottom corner. This is a deep chocolate brown eyeshadow. This is one that is going to be quite a challenge for me. So yes, I asked for something that had some progress on it, and this one does, but it's so richly pigmented that this shadow is gonna take a long time to actually be able to hit pan on, and that's okay. I actually really enjoy reaching for this palette, and this is a beautiful little neutral color palette right here too, and these shades can pair really well together. So although I will not be the kind of person that will pan a look, I do foresee myself being able to reach for all of these eyeshadows no problem in the coming couple months. I might end up deciding that I need to roll something out after reaching 15 uses, quite honestly, because yeah, I can foresee myself needing a long time to work on all of these focus shadows. Every single one of these needs some serious time and effort. So Caravaggio here has a tiny bit of a dip, as you can see if I kind of move it away from the light. There's a bit of a dip happening in there, but really nothing too notable. However, I think this will be really fun to reach for. I imagine I'll be pairing it with the shade Middle Karma that does have a really good dip in it, and I may be able to hit pan on that just by reaching for this palette more often. I've been really close to finishing up the shade Chamomile here. I've been reaching for this every single day to set my eyeshadow primer. So maybe next update, I'll actually have an empty pan to share with you, which would be so cool. Not the point of this project whatsoever, but that would be really cool to finally share with you because I want to see more empty pans in my palette collection. So anyways, this is the fourth and final new addition to this project pan. It's not what I was asking for, but that's okay. This is the current color story, mostly mattes with one beautiful neutral shimmer. These are all favorite palettes in my collection as well. We have the Soul Blooming palette, we have Natasha Denona Metropolis, and we have Melt Cosmetics Gemini. So you know, these are all absolute favorites in my collection. These are all palettes that I truly, truly, truly love. If you've watched literally any number of my videos on my channel, then you are aware of that. So this will be fun for me. It will be very challenging to actually reach my goal of hitting pan, and my kind of unofficial goal of trying to roll something out of this project every update seems a little less attainable with what I have in here, especially considering that the other palette is from my Alice in Wonderland palette, and this one is brand spanking new, but I might end up rolling this out after 15 uses after all. We'll see. We're kind of just gonna wing it. We're gonna see how this next month goes for me. Overall, I am really excited to be reaching for all four of these focus shadows and focus palettes in general, and I cannot wait to see what kind of looks I create over this coming month. I'm not sure that I'll do a focus week. I'm not sure. These don't seem like the kinds of shades that really excite me to do something like that. Maybe I'll pull something else from my collection entirely to do that over on my Instagram. But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling. This is such a fun project pan for me, and I just love talking about eyeshadows, so I'm sorry. I'm rambling, of course, but yeah, that, my friends, is absolutely everything. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.